Well, hello again, folks. This is Edward's Travels, part B to the closed business video I made just a little while ago. Take a ride along here. Now we're bordering Kalamazoo's notorious South Side Hood. We're on Portage Street, and at this point we have entered the hood. We now will take a little cruise through here on our way to the closed Walgreens. It was just shuttered a couple days ago next door to the abandoned McDonald's. It had been there for couple of decades, and just too much violence and so forth. The thievery out of the Walgreens just put it right out of business, that branch there. And we'll take a look at it in a second. We're going through the Washington Square area here of the notorious South Side Hood. Right here on the corner in that vacant lot is where a funeral home and crematoria used to be. A lot of history right through here. Buildings that were years ago, 100 years ago, more than 100 years ago, like this old fire station right there. And on this corner here where you see these new condos, of all things, was a big creamery back in the day. And then before that, it was a big brewery back in the day. Over here on the left side, just on the other side of the U-Haul building there. And let's see, oh yeah, the pizza. You go next door to the pizza place, you see that house right there that has a little chalet front. It's all shuttered up. That was the Zoo Bar right there. That was one of the gay bars in Kalamazoo. It's all gone. And this corner was a huge furniture store called the Grapevine Furniture. All gone. Of course, right up here on the right-hand side, just through the light, this was Hoekstra Hardware. For decades, for generations, and all gone. Now a cannabis shop there on the end. Here was a Harley Davidson dealership right here, gone. Pretty much dead down here, along there. But downtown, it's booming. This is one of the Pfizer buildings here in the School of Medicine and the downtown hospital complex and so forth. And then we come along up here into Old Town Kalamazoo. We're out of the hood now.
The speed limit is 25 miles per hour.
We're looking at the back of the stores up ahead that line Michigan Avenue. You can see downtown the Fifth Third building, and here's the old whistle stop. This is one of the old produce warehouses that the trains would pull right up here and unload or load produce here on the other side. Old Kalamazoo buildings down here. Here's the tracks where they'd load the Kalamazoo produce up in the day. The delivery wagons would line up out there in the street where we just passed and drop off the fresh picked goods there. Go up along here, a couple more cannabis shops, fuel oil delivery shop, a cannabis shop, so forth. Take a break here a second. Be right back. Okay, as we proceed along here, looking kind of into the sun, take a look over this way. This used to be the Arcadia Brewing Company, a big brewery. And before it was that, it was one of our water powerhouses here in Kalamazoo. Back in the day, I remember that. Big brick building and a powerhouse. The river went right through there, and of course they used the river. Going under the old haunted bridge. Terrible train disaster happened right up there. Back in, I believe it was the 30s. It was a passenger train with many people killed and so forth. To this day, they claim time to time they still see a couple of passengers wandering around there in the middle of the night. I know a guy that was there on that scene when it happened. He talked about the arms, the legs, and the heads they were picking up off the ground. Yup, no kidding. We're back in the hood again. This is part of the north side hood. And this is where, looks like a telephone pole being installed. We'll turn in right up here. Here's the property right here. Here's the McDonald's, as you can see. It's gone. Has been gone for quite a while. Kind of go around through here, and there's the Walgreens. It's done for too. Kind of had a funny flow to things. If you were up here on Gull Road, you wanted to come to McDonald's drive-through, you had to come back through this little alley. There was a sign back here pointing drive-through, and you would have to come up behind this Walgreens from Gull Road right out here. I'll kind of turn around and show you, and use this McDonald's drive-through. The sign was right there, drive-through and everything else. Of course, here's the Walgreens. They're in there gutting that out. And this is how you had to get back to the McDonald's. Back like this. And then you'd have to come in just like this, go around the building, come back around the other side of the building through the drive-through and order, and then come around here and pay and pick up. That's the only way that you could get into here from Gull Road. And I can remember thinking, man, that's not going to last long, but it lasted about 20 years. This is not the first McDonald's that was built here. This is one of the remodels. There was an older one here before this one. Yep. Very interesting. Well, we're going to get back out of here and take a look at another site. Okay, folks, we're going to go up here to a little park where not long ago, actually about 2 months ago, the police recovered a body, and they had chased a fella who was trying to outrun him on a motorcycle, and he jumped off the motorcycle and jumped over here into the Kalamazoo River and decided he was going to try to swim across the river and get away. And the police ran along the banks of the river. They said, get out of there, man, you know, you're going to die. The river where he was at was about waist deep, and he kept going and wouldn't stop. He made it more than halfway across, but there was a undertow, there was a current, and it got him, and so it took him under, and they couldn't get a hold of him. The divers went in, the police jumped right in the water. Here's where they staged the rescue. And they were dragging the river, and they couldn't find him for weeks. And finally, I mean, the bad weather set in, and the river started icing up all the way around it. And they let it go for a while. And then lo and behold, as soon as the ice got out of there, didn't take long, they were back looking around on the river, and some folks found the body along the banks. They're kind of right behind me. Of course, across the street here, this is part of the city of Kalamazoo. the Harrison facility. This is our water treatment facility right there. But we'll go up here along here and you can take a little better look down the river. Yep, he jumped in not too far down from right there. There's the other side, kind of funny, but anyway, bad photography. Look up there at the Riverside Cemetery. Be back with you in a minute. It's really sad that fella had to drown like that, just running from the police on a motorcycle. It just doesn't make sense sometimes. Right back here is where the huge homeless camp used to be. They cleared it out a year and a half ago. Thought maybe 1,000 people were staying there. Here's the river again. There's where he ran across, right down there. They found him down over here on this side, kind of by the homeless camp, where the homeless camp used to be. Sorry about that little bobble right there. We're going to cruise here towards the west, around one of the traffic circles here. This we are now officially in the north side hood. A lot of these homes along here had been raised over the years and places repurposed, as you can see, into condos and apartments and so forth. We just now getting close to where the Uber killer had been stopped and arrested back in the day. You can look at one of my prior videos about that, where you can see here where they're fixing up the roads again down here on East Ransom. It's going to go on for a number of weeks yet. We're not too far away from the Gibson guitar manufacturing building, where the home of Gibson was. Straight ahead, actually, you can see the old factory. Heritage Guitar is now in the rear part of that factory, and they are still manufacturing guitars. Some of the past employees there from the Gibson factory. I go around the corner here, you see our old brick city streets. Definitely over 100 years old. The coffee factory right there. This used to be very dangerous. That still is. It's not as dangerous as the south side hood, but this used to be the main focus of crime and so forth in Kalamazoo. Poverty all goes hand in hand. Some people say it doesn't have to, and they're right. Some cases it doesn't have to, but in some cases it just manifests itself. And I'm not here to judge one way or the other, to say there's good folks and there's bad folks. I deal with good and bad, but down through here we're safe. The temperatures are still low enough that people haven't come out and started raising hell yet. And the police are glad for that. Believe me, the police are glad for that. Huge parties happen down here that take up these city streets, going down like you can't believe, and fires get started, and the police come in and they put an end to it quick. And the neighbors, they just, all of a sudden, hundreds of cars will show up and just block the streets and start partying and raising hell. And it's really a bad thing. They put an end to these rolling parties for the most part. And there's an awful lot of good folks down here, and they don't deserve any of that kind of crap. That's for sure. Now we're gonna be heading on back out. Go past the famous North Pole right there. Man used to own that. He's passed away now. He was known as the Polar Bear. Very famous, infamous parking lot back there as well. Killings, abductions, well, back in the days. We're going to set this for a second. Be right back. This building that's next to me used to be a car wash back in the day. Then it was a big print shop. Then it was turned into a big nightclub right here. All right. Then it was turned into a big nightclub for teenagers. You had to be under 18 to get in there. Kind of see it back there again to the side. Then there were shootings there, all kinds of drug dealing, prostitution. The police were down there constantly. And all of a sudden, it turned into a church. And I don't know what it is now. There's no signs. It looks like it's kept up on the outside. But had a lot of history there. We're out of the hood now as soon as we go through this light. Okay. On this corner used to be a big Burger King and some very old buildings, businesses and so forth. And right over here, they just tore down another old Kalamazoo house. And we're going to go down past here a second. Right here, some workers filling in the site. Kalamazoo College. We're on one of these old, over 100-year-old brick streets here right now. Kalamazoo College is right up the hill here. And over here, they own all this property on this side of the railroad tracks. There were two old homes here. One was raised earlier. This was raised just a couple of days ago. They were built in the late 1800s, the 1880s. And they were pretty cool old homes, but they were in very, very bad shape. Inside, they're dilapidated to the point that to even get in and get an engineer to sign off on it would be tough. And so the college used them for living quarters for a while until they were untenable, and so they were raised. There's been some backlash. Why weren't they saved? Why weren't they taken better care of? They were historic, but they were in such bad shape. The preservation committee and so forth just basically threw their hands up and said they're kindling wood. I'm sure somebody went in and stripped some woodwork out if there was anything left like that. Got some things out of there, but these old homes, they do get to a point, if they're not taken care of, it doesn't take long and they're beyond repair, unless you have very, very deep pockets. Be right back. We're going to pass a couple of the old oaks here at Western Michigan University on Eddy Street. One of the shortest streets in the city of Kalamazoo. I think it's only 45 feet long, 45 or 50 feet. Eddy Street and two of the big old oaks. Climbing the hill here, Western Michigan University on Oakland Drive. I'll be home soon. A few of the other old trees here along Oakland Drive. Nice little old grove here. And of course the trees and the groves around the state hospital. You can see the little, or not quite little, but the water tower, the castle tower there. And so I'm heading back, like I mentioned, to my own castle, not far away from here. And thank you for riding along with me today. Old Edward here, my travels. Going to be going out of town a little later, taking a look at some very interesting marijuana grow facilities. Huge acreage and pot. Be right back with that next time. Have a great day.